Listen, and listen well, because I won't tell this twice. They call me the usurper now, or they call me your grace, with heads bowed low and eyes full of schemes. But once I was just a man with a hammer and a fury that could shake the stars. It started with a girl and a lie. Rhaegar, that silver-haired prince who thought he was a god, stole Lyanna, my Lyanna. She was the only thing in this world that made me want to be better, and he took her. Then Aerys, the mad king, demanded my head for the crime of being born a Baratheon. I gave him a different answer at the Battle of the Trident. Gods, I was strong then. I can still feel the weight of that warhammer in my grip. When I met Rhaegar in the middle of the river, I didn't see a prince. I saw a target. I buried my hammer so deep in his chest that the rubies from his armor flew into the water like drops of blood. I didn't want a throne. I wanted my girl back, and I wanted to break every Targaryen bone until the world was quiet. I took the crown because Ned didn't want it, and Jon Arryn told me I had to. I sat on that cold, uncomfortable chair and thought the war was over. The thing they don't tell you about winning a kingdom is that you actually have to rule it. I traded my hammer for a cup of wine and my armor for silk that got tighter every year. I surrounded myself with a wife who hated me, a Lannister lioness with ice in her veins, and a court of liars who whispered while I slept. I tried to drown the memory of Lyanna in a sea of ale and tavern girls. I grew fat. I grew soft. I became a king who spent more time counting pennies for tourneys than counting the enemies at his gates. My fall wasn't a single battle. It was a slow rot. The weight, the Iron Throne is made of swords, and it cuts you if you sit too long. I left the kingdom in debt to Tywin Lannister, a man I despised but couldn't live without. I was so busy looking for a fight that I didn't see the shadows closing in. In the end, it wasn't a grand rebellion that took me down. It wasn't a dragon or a king. It was a pig. A boar in the Kingswood caught me while I was drunk, too drunk to lead, too stubborn to step back. It ripped me open, but even as I lay dying, I felt a strange sort of peace. The game was finally over. I'd spent 15 years trying to be a king when I was only ever meant to be a warrior. I left the world to my son, Joffrey, a boy with no Baratheon blood in him, though I was too blind to see it, and to Ned, the only man who ever told me the truth. I died in a bed of silk, dreaming of the trident.